Good morning, y'all. It is a beautiful morning here at Camp Semper K9, and it's time for our week 4 garden tour of the 2020 gardening season. Let's get in the garden. Okay, we're going to get started in the front part of the garden here. So I had this area for the bees. It's got some wildflowers and some sunflowers that look like they are finally starting to come up. This is our cherry tree, dwarf cherry tree for the kids. It is really growing well. I'm excited about that for them because I think they're really going to love picking cherries off and eating them. We have some Nasturtiums here, and a new addition that I randomly decided to do was put some pole beans back here, and I'm going to grow them up over this fence. So I have them all along the edge of the garden beds. I have 2 Koopa melon, a noodle bean, and these lemon cucumbers. I did not expect them to take off like they have, but I have 2 lemon cucumbers here, so they are just growing up way better in this location than in the other location I have them in the garden. And on this side we have a Koopa melon, razzmatazz grape plant, another Koopa melon, and a noodle bean that has not appeared yet. We have 2 or 3 pole beans here. These are going to be a dry bean variety. They're Good Mother Stallard, I believe is the name of that one. These are all-star strawberry plants and some thornless blackberry plants here on the back side. You can see that the strawberry plants have put out runners, so they will have new plants. They will have new plants coming soon. Just going to leave those and let them do their thing. Then here we have a giant zinnia and some more zinnias and Johnny Jump Ups. The Johnny Jump Ups, I'm kind of late to the game on getting these in, but they were something that I had as a child, and I found them online when I was ordering other seeds, so I went ahead and got them started. We also have a climbing red rose here. And over in this bed, I have some dried up zinnias, but I also have some more of the pole beans. Our sunflowers have opened, and I also have lemon thyme and lemongrass, and some more hen chicks. In this bed we have some lavender, some lemon thyme, lemongrass, some dahlias that are dying back. And over here I have rosemary, and then I planted, I don't remember what I planted here, some beans in this little, no, it wasn't beans. I'm not quite sure what I planted there, but we'll see when it starts to pop up. But I plant things here that the chickens will enjoy, and things that will attract insects for them to snack on. Alright, now it's time to go into the garden. So I have this area with my mint, and I have some sunflowers spread throughout here as well, and some zinnias and a dahlia. It's right here next to the chicken coop. They normally think I'm bringing them snacks because I'll pick things from the garden and bring them out here. So I'm going to start over here with our beans. I did a tour last week of all of the beans in the garden, and you might see some diatomaceous earth residue left over. We had a serious flea beetle issue. Every time I was coming out here to check, which was twice a day, the damage was worse, and every time I would grab a plant, there would be a flea beetle on the plant. But yesterday, when I was making my rounds, I noticed something pretty exciting. So our pinto beans are starting to develop beans. And it's like that on almost every pinto bean that developed pretty quickly. I also have some blossoms down here. Let's see. There's some right there. Super exciting. It's always exciting to see progress when you've worked so hard. And all of the other beans that we have here are developing along pretty well. Like I said, we had that really bad flea beetle infestation, so I dusted it with diatomaceous earth, which is safe for our bees, and have been watching, haven't seen anything since I did the dusting. So the other beans in the garden, I did the same way, and then I put neem oil on everything else. I treated everything else. This was Saturday night. So our corn is doing pretty well. We are not going to get any rain here for quite a while. So our corn, we've got to water it twice a day to make sure that it's getting enough water. I have some more kernels of corn that I got in. I think it's the ornamental glass corn. I don't remember the variety. I'll have to go look. This is Silver Queen, sweet corn. But I'm thinking about sowing some more corn, even though today is June 8th, just to see how quickly it catches up, or if it, if it does well, and just to have a different variety of corn. I'm still on the fence about that. You can see I also planted some zucchini throughout here, and I also planted some yellow squash. I don't remember if I did crookneck or early straight, because the raccoon ate all the rest of my seeds that I accidentally left out here, so I forget which variety I planted. We'll find out as soon as it gets here and it starts germinating. But I will also be adding some beans in this bed too. The nitrogen from the beans will help. The nitrogen from the corn will help the beans. And I wanted to do pole beans near where the corn is so that the beans could grow up the corn, but I'm not sure if I'm just going to do bush beans around the edges where I have space, or what I'm going to do here yet. But at least so far everything is going great. So I actually wanted to shoot the bean bed from this angle so you guys can see how high these beans have been growing. So they have been growing like crazy, which is great. We added this arch trellis here, and they've already grabbed on and started taking off. I'm trying to see who's going to win the Christmas pole beans, which we have in this bed, or the Blue Lake pole beans, these green beans here, and you can see they still have diatomaceous earth on them. This one was getting pretty eaten up as well, so I had to do a pretty heavy dusting here. I did not dust these. So these are white half runners, and they're turning really, really yellow. So last night I gave them some nitrogen. I'm waiting to see if they pull through in the next couple of days, and I may call them and put something different in their place. I have some orchid beans that just came in that I was thinking about planting as well. So, and I was actually thinking about planting them right here along the edge to grow them up over the fence on this back side. But I'm not really sure how these beans are going to do. They just need some nitrogen. These beans are thriving. They're in the same soil as this, but they're in a raised bed. So I don't know if that makes a difference. But I've got to get in here and train some of these beans to climb back down the trellis so that I can route them right back up to the top. Have not seen any flowers on here yet, but I did not go through this section last night very well because it is heavily dense. Also, over here on this back side where the Christmas pole beans are, there was some that did not germinate right here, and after we put this trellis in, I put a Koopa melon here and a noodle bean and some other kind of pole bean just to maximize the space. I think this is the bed that's probably had the most growth over the past 4 days. I mean, when I went back and looked at my videos, I did not have this many blooms even set on my squash, like set to open. And I also have a lot of weeds in this bed. I just weeded this bed and they are just coming back with a vengeance here. And I did plant some beans here now that my squash is getting so big. I don't know if they're gonna pop out fast enough. But these are Tanya's pink potted bush beans. And then I have yellow crookneck and Black Beauty zucchini in here. So in this bed, my okra that I thought was not going to survive the bird attack and the late frost that we got in May is bouncing back, and so are the weeds. Again, I just weeded this bed a week ago and they're just already popping out, so I got to get these weeds taken care of. But my okra, once I trimmed some of the dead okra off that were trying to come out, this okra has just been doing great. This is Clemson Spineless. And I've also got Alabama Red planted in here and Emerald Velvet. Then we have my curly leaf basil, thyme, and my pepper. Some of my peppers have not been doing so great. I did do some pruning of my pepper plants. I pruned half of them and I didn't prune the others, and I've had a couple that have died. So I may plant some in their place, some backups that I have. And kind of curious to see if this pruning actually helps. So we'll see. Something's going on over there in the chicken coop. Okay, so over in this bed we have a lot of progress too. Our strawberry plants, these are the Ozark Beauty. They are blooming again. Lots of flowers here. Really excited about that. A lot more weeds again. I have chamomile. Our ambrosia cantaloupe are doing really well. The okra I've planted is starting to pop out. Nasturtiums, chives. And our squash that I have been hand pollinating just in case. Well, actually this is all zucchini. So I have 2 gray zucchini plants here, and look how pretty these leaves are. So pretty. And I just love squash blossoms. They're so magical. When they open all the way up, they're star-shaped, and I just love stars. And it looks like I do have a zucchini here. I don't know if it'll focus on it. That looks like it didn't get pollinated, and I'm going to have to remove that one. I'll wait another day or two to see, just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that one didn't get pollinated. I have lots of ants inside of them too. But I'm really excited to try. I've never tried golden zucchini that I know of. So I'm really excited to try them. Like I said, I've been hand pollinating, but it also looks like there's another one right there that's not pollinated. And I'll remove those so that the plant's still not trying to produce that fruit and putting energy into that one. These plants are really booming. Okay, so this bed looks a lot different. This was the bed that we originally had tomatoes. They got a fungus. We pulled them out and burned them. I planted flowers in their place after I treated the soil. And then we have lemon verbena, Genovese basil, some sage, and I see nasty white moth trying to lay eggs on my brassicas. Here we have a sunrise sauce tomato. This one is Golden Jubilee. I have some photos that I might be able to load in here of what it looked like a couple of days ago. It is bouncing back. I also gave it some fish emulsion last night. This is a red beefsteak heirloom, and this is Dances with Smurfs. And the majority of these plants, the majority of everything in the garden I grew from seed, and there are a few things that I got from local farmers market or the feed store. Okay, in this bed I have 2 pineapple ground cherries. This is my first time growing them. No one in my house is really a fan of the ground cherry, so I probably won't grow them again. I do need to collect the little lanterns that are down there that typically means that they're ready to harvest. That's why they're called ground cherries, or at least I'm making that assumption. But the ground cherry grows in the little lantern. It's like a little small mini tomato / grape / pepper. That's kind of how I describe it. That kind of is what it tastes like. This is a Cherokee purple. Get there to make sure it pollinates. Heirloom tomato. I need to get this one staked up, but it's growing great. This is green tomatillo. It's kind of rare to hear that in this area. We're out in the country, so I hope everyone's okay. This one is a German Johnson heirloom. This tomato here. We have nasturtiums. Take a pause. Definitely a fire truck. Now I hear a police car coming. Hope everyone's okay. Like I said, we live out in the country here, so it's very rare to hear that. Here we have some, I don't know if this is lemon thyme or just regular thyme, but we have rosemary, my dill that was going to seed. It was bolting, so I have been trimming that off. Here we have Lieutenant Broccoli, and something has been eating my Lieutenant Broccoli, and it is probably cabbage loopers. I pulled a lot of cabbage loopers off of the artwork broccoli, and this is bolting faster than I can cut it, so I probably am going to have to harvest the rest of this broccoli and add some more plants in its place. I really loved the artwork broccoli. It was great. I will definitely grow it again if I can find it or get seeds for it or save seeds. But my Lieutenant Broccoli is finally developing heads. Well, a couple of them are. So cute. Even this one that's getting eaten, hopefully I can salvage him because he's getting a little head too. But I definitely found evidence from cabbage loopers. Did not find the cabbage loopers, but I did spray this with neem oil, so they may have died. Okay, over here we have our blueberry plant, and I had transplanted these, so not quite sure if we'll even get any blueberries this year. We had a few last year, but I had to transplant. It was not doing well in the location we had it before. And here we have blackberry bushes. Oh, look. y'all see this? Yay! The kids are going to be excited. We have 4 blackberry bushes back here. This is their first year here. And we have an apple tree as well, red apple. Now this bed has had a lot of growth as well. So my pepper plants are doing great. We have hot salsa peppers that I started from seed, and then orange peppercini here. 2 of those on the end here. I think it's technically 3. 2 of them kind of grew together and I didn't want to separate them. We have San Marzano tomatoes. I have 2 here. They're kind of bunching together. I can't keep them apart. So I'm going to have to trim those up today or tomorrow. Get those bottom leaves trimmed and make sure there's plenty of space there. Oh, look, look, look. This is one of my beefsteaks that I started from seed. Look at that. Can you see it? Baby tomato. That is so exciting. Oh, here's another one. When something like this that you plant from seeds starts bearing fruit, it's just so exciting. This one is pink brandywine. I need to get it secured there to the stake. I have a Orient Charm pink eggplant. This one is a sunrise sauce. And then here are the rest of my Koopa Melons. They are growing up on this trellis. I do have to train them a little bit. And I see I have one back here that's kind of growing toward my tomato plant, so I need to redirect him back over here. And this bed has seen a lot of growth too. This is my cucumbers and lettuce. Here I have Bragger cucumber, and these are Boston pickling, these on the back here. These 2 are lemon cucumber. Well, 3, 1, 2, 3. That one over there is lemon cucumber as well. And then in the very back, those are, I can't ever remember how to pronounce it, but those are the really long cucumbers. They're not the Armenian, but they're similar to those. But what's really cool is that while my lemon cucumbers in the front bed are doing better as far as height, here's the first blossom for my lemon cucumber. There's a little lemon cucumber on there, so exciting. Honestly, if you don't get excited when you start seeing fruit develop on something that you've started from seed, or even something that you've bought from the store, then you might not be needing to be gardening if it doesn't excite you. I always get excited. I get excited every single time I see a new fruit pop up, even if the plant is well developed. So I'm just a garden nerd, I guess. Space nerd, garden nerd. I guess those are good. Okay, so here we have celery. I've never grown celery before. I'm not even sure when to harvest it. It looks like it's getting smaller than it was, so I may need to do some research on that. I have a zinnia in here, 2 more green tomatillos. This is a super sweet 100 cherry tomato, and I had my garlic here and it just died, so I'm gonna pull it up, see if it's salvageable or if it's usable, and I'm going to plant something else there, and then Swiss chard. I don't know when to harvest this Swiss chard. I think it's time to harvest, and I need to try to find some creative recipes because no one at Semper Canine, none of our volunteers or our veterans have taken me up on wanting this Swiss chard. So got to figure out something to do with it because it's almost time for it to come out. And then here are 2 russet potatoes. I need to cover them again with dirt. Our potatoes are doing awesome, so I'm really excited. This is our first year ever growing potatoes, and I'll show you our other potatoes that we have in grow bags. So I think I've come to the conclusion that this bed is just not gonna grow a lot of produce. We've got carrots in here that are slowly growing. We've harvested some radishes. Our onions just aren't doing that great here, so I'm just thinking maybe this is just a bad growing spot. I need to amend the soil after I get everything out of here, if I can harvest it. And I've also planted something, either okra or beans, I don't remember which, on these sides, and nothing has germinated. So, and I sowed carrots all through here, and you can see I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this row. I should have at least 10 or 15 more. Same on this row and same on this row. I did 3 full rows of carrots here. I keep seeing those white moths. They've got to go. I've got to kill them. I need to come up with some better solutions on that, because they'll get into these soon. These are my cabbage. My cabbage are just taking a slower start this year. I'm not quite sure what's up with them. I've seen other people having slow starts with their cabbage, and then I've seen people like just completely harvesting all their cabbage because it's done. So I'm going to be patient. I also have some okra planted in here. There's one there. There's one. And I planted some on this back side. I planted Alabama red here, and this is emerald velvet. And this is Savoy Cabbage. And these are flat Dutch. So I have 6 flat Dutch and 6 Savoy. Okay, I guess we'll go over here now. So this is an arch trellis with our artichoke. Never grown artichoke before. Don't know what variety it is. I got this at the farmer's market. I was browsing on opening day, and I was like, that looks cool. Let me get that artichoke. I don't even think I've ever cooked artichoke. I've had it like in dips and things at parties and restaurants, but I don't think I've ever cooked it personally. Here we have some Tanya's pink potted bush beans, razzmatazz grape, jade cross Brussels sprout, which this bed is almost identical to the other bed, noodle bean, and Kajari melon. And then here's the other bed, almost identical to that one. A couple of things didn't germinate, so I'm going to give it a little bit more time and see if I need to add more stuff. And again, you can see some remnants of diatomaceous earth. Okay, here is the melon and pumpkin and gourd bed. So I had put 9 mounds of Georgia rattlesnake watermelon. A couple of the mounds did not germinate. So I went back and added golden midget watermelon and some Kajari melons to try not growing them on a trellis. I also have some Kajari melons in my green stalk at my house, which is not located here on this property. One day, planning on either building or putting a modular home back there in the back next to our pavilion that's already up there. But we'll see. I don't know. There might be a house that comes on the market that we want to buy instead, but there's nothing right now, and I'm getting restless in our rental home. But anyway, that's another video and another topic altogether. So these are Georgia rattlesnake watermelon. Some of them are growing a lot quicker than others. I also have some okra in here. And our pumpkins. These are, I said I was going to go back and look, and I keep saying that. I'm going to go back and look. I have to look through my photos because I don't have the seed pack left. Because I shared so many seeds with other people, I mailed free seeds to people after I was done planting. And I believe these are jack-o'-lantern pumpkin was the variety. So no blooms yet on my pumpkins that I have seen pop out. I love pumpkin blooms. They're similar to the squash blooms. And these are gourds. These are birdhouse gourds so that we can build some homes for some martin birds and try to attract them here. I have seen a few flying around. So I'd like to get them to be permanent residents to help us with the insect population that we don't need here. And this little section of the bed looks a little crowded because I had a lot of the gourds that did not germinate. So as you can see, I have some nasturtiums here. I also have some sunflowers spread throughout. And even here, this area didn't germinate. Even after me planting zinnia and sunflower, it still didn't germinate. And this little section in between here too, nothing germinated. So I'm actually going to turn the soil after I get done filming and see if something pops up in the next couple days. If it doesn't, I may just leave it, or I may put some flowers there or something. Sunflowers maybe, I don't know. But these are Mammoth Sunflowers that I have planted here, and they are starting to come up. Or maybe these are the teddy bear, I don't remember. I planted several different varieties, and I'm going to put some more of this fence trellis over here to try to help contain our... There's one of those moths. I need to kill it. There, got you. Those are the ones that are laying the eggs that are the cabbage loopers. So like I said, I planted, look at this okra. Here's an okra right here. And the biggest okra in here is this one. I planted all these at the same time, and this one is finally germinating. It always amazes me. There's another okra. So I had planted 9 okra in here, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it looks like only... That's probably the biggest one in the bed here. So far anyway. Looks like only 6 germinated, but that's okay. I'm not going to plant any more okra in here. This was just an experiment. I've been doing a lot of experimenting this year. Okay, onto this bed. So this little area has a lot of our cherry tomatoes. I have a pineapple cherry tomato here. I have a sun gold cherry that has set fruit to finally have some baby tomatoes there, and up here. Also have a chives and sweet banana pepper. These two are red cherry tomatoes, and this is another sun gold cherry. I have a micro cherry tomato, garden sage, lemon thyme, rosemary. Then I have more rosemary here and sage. I have a jalapeno. I had 2 jalapenos. This one thought it was too hot to be a jalapeno, I guess, so it died. And then I have this jalapeno, and then these 3 are Roma tomatoes that I started from seed. Like I said, most everything in here I started from seed, except some of the flowers I bought at the farmer's market. But there are other flowers here that I started from seed, and then another sweet banana pepper. Or that one might just be a sweet pepper. We'll see when it comes up. Okay, let's go look at our other tomato plants over by the bees. The bees are really quiet this morning. They are going to get moved this week, I think. We found... So Chris has been clearing out this space. If you've watched my last videos, you saw that we had a contractor that did not... do what he was paid to do. He was supposed to clear all of this debris on this back corner and all of this here, and he didn't. Very upsetting to take money from a veteran service organization and not do a job. But anyway, that's another conversation. I'm working on that separately. So we still got to get it moved. So Chris has been clearing things, but he found another honeybee hive that's not the same variety as our honeybee. We have Russian honeybees, and we're not sure. These are much bigger bees. So we found them in a log over here. So we are going to try to capture them, and we've got another hive on the way. And we're going to try to capture them, or see if we can. We're going to ask one of our friends to come over. But our bees right now are super quiet this morning because we have had a hot several days, and they have been overactive trying to keep that hive cool. So bugs, sorry. So I'm really glad that we've got a cool couple of nights for them to give them a little break. Okay, so this, talked about this bed multiple times. We had some irrigation issues, as you can see here. Made the bed out of cedar after the fact that I had planted all of these lima beans, and you can see the flea beetle damage that I had on these. You can still see remnants of the diatomaceous earth. And I had direct sown some beans on the backside, and they got washed out, so I decided to plant a long row of tomato plants. I originally was going to trellis them to this. I think I'm going to stake each one and do it that way now, because I'm worried it's going to get too heavy for this agriculture netting that we have used as our trellis for all of our other beans. Next year we may do cattle panel or even hog wire, which is what we have on the outside of our fencing here. Also, something I didn't talk about a moment ago is that we are getting, it's on the way, a high tunnel to go here. It's 50 foot by 16. So that's why the bees have to go, but everything's kind of on hold until we can get that other hive relocated. Okay, so back to this. Okay, so back to the tomatoes. I said this last week when I was doing the tomato tour of all of our tomato plants in the garden. Some of these are growing so much better than others, and it may just be the spacing. I spaced them 14 inches apart because I'm going to trim them to make sure that I'm going to make sure they're pruned and kept trimmed very closely, so that we can keep them this close together and keep this many in this bed. But some are just growing faster than others. So these four, the first four are the exact same. They're red cherry tomato. This one is obviously the winner when it comes to growth, and the one in the middle here is just kind of sad. These next four are Honey Delight. Well, next three are Honey Delight because I had one kind of die. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, this one's not dead. I thought it was dead, but it's not thriving. So I need to come in here and try to see if I can salvage that one. That's one of Chris's favorite tomatoes. The next I have are Baby Boom. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 Baby Boom. Then we have Delicious Tomato. I have 1, 2. Nope. I have one. This is different. This is a Arkansas Traveler, I think. Let me look. No, this is a German Johnson heirloom. Delicious, delicious. This one is a long keeper, and I have another long keeper. This one's an Arkansas Traveler, long keeper. Planted one in between where the long keepers died. Beefsteak, Arkansas Traveler, German Johnson. This one is a Lemon Boy and 2 Mr. Stripies. So I have a Lemon Boy and 2 Mr. Stripies. And these are just like really growing like crazy. I've got to get in here and prune them. Get the suckers out if there are any, and I'm sure there are. And I might try to propagate some of the suckers. I have 2 or 3 at the house that I'm propagating now. Not sure where I'm going to put them. Maybe they'll go in the high tunnel. But one of them is actually trying to set fruit, so I'm just letting it go because it's a free plant, so why not? Here are our other potato plants. So we keep covering them. I'm going to flip these up after I'm done filming, cover them again because this grow bag goes a little higher. These are red, Pontiac red potatoes, obviously. So we have these here in different size bags. I mean, again, it's just like we just covered them on Friday, and now it's Monday. These are more russet. I love russet potatoes. I love red potatoes. I love small potatoes. I love all potatoes. Fingerlings are my favorite, but we couldn't get any fingerlings in time for this growing season. So we pretty much ordered whatever was in stock, and it even took almost a month to get them. They were kind of an afterthought. We ordered them in early March, and they didn't get here till April, and we had to I split them, let them harden off, or not harden off, but scab over, I guess you would say, for a couple of days, and then we planted them. So I'd have to go back and look at my gardening journal, but I believe I planted these. We planted them maybe a month ago, 3 weeks ago. It's just kind of crazy how fast they're growing, which is awesome. But again, this is our first time growing potatoes, so I'm not really sure what to expect. So I think that pretty much wraps up the garden tour. I'm going to, so I think that pretty much wraps up the garden tour, unless I get home and decide to tour the green stalks that I have. I have 2 of them planted on the front porch, and I might add those into here. I might not, because this is the Semper Fresh Garden tour. That's really not part of the Semper Fresh Garden. That's just an experiment that I'm doing with all the extra seeds that I had left. So I have a little bit more work to do here this morning before I can head back home. So I'm going to get to that. So I've actually got a little bit more work to do here in the garden, but that pretty much wraps up our garden tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, this is the Semper Fresh Garden. This is on the campus of Camp Semper Canine, where we are building our service dog training facility for our nonprofit, Semper Canine Assistance Dogs. If you're interested in finding out more about Semper Canine, you can visit sempercanine.org. Bye, y'all.